we're going to have live poets, or poets who are here. You know your order? Do you want me to call out your names, or are you going to come out? So, Candice, would you like to come first? Everybody be very, very careful not to trip on these wires. As you announce your name yourself from the very beginning. So Candice won a third prize. So it was very good.
Hi, my name is Candice Deleveaux-Turnquest, and I hail from the beautiful islands of the Bahamas. I'm grateful to have my poem, Love in Loss, included in Mingled Voices 9, the International Proverse Poetry Prize Anthology 2024. Love in Loss attempts to communicate the heartbreak experienced when a person leaves a relationship in an attempt to stop betraying themselves. It acknowledges the genuine grief and self-doubt encountered as one grapples to move on. Love in loss. How does one navigate love that lives in loss, or the dissipation of hope that sits in the finality of goodbye? The temptation of self-betrayal steadily lurks in thoughts that wonder if maybe it could be different. Maybe I could be different. I could demand less. I could love him more. But I choose instead to love me and to simply let him go, knowing that our story will remain half written, his side suppressed, because he only felt safe speaking words that could never fully communicate, I love you. The loss of him becomes a reminder that time doesn't stop so we can process heartbreak. Dreams of togetherness die, but are never funeralized. There's no obituary chronicling our moments of bliss. Each morning sunrise provides a quiet chance to move on, followed by sunsets offering darkness, where I fall apart in the shadows.
Welcome, Candice. So, Rena.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Rena Ong, and my permanent home is in the lovely Singapore. I would like to thank Proverse Hong Kong for their encouragement in my poetry journey, for the honour of being published in Mingled Voices 9, International Poetry Prize Anthology 2024, and for this opportunity of reading my poem, Waters of the Moon. The title, also sometimes seen as Waters from the Moon, was used by Christopher Koch in his book, The Year of Living Dangerously. The film, Year of Living Dangerously, but purports to come from a traditional Javanese metaphor, one of whose meanings is to reach for something unattainable, such as taking out a reflection of the moon in a lake. Being here today with the privilege of reading my poems to so many talented authors and poets here, for me, is like attaining waters of the moon. The poem is my personal take on living with a poor memory recall. I hope you enjoy the poem. Waters of the Moon. Twigs of cherished phrases, entwined with a lexicon of my identity, interlock, making dams in this river of forgetfulness, whose currents pull, dismantle, pluck from safety, pushing them like detritus downstream to coalesce and sink. Nuggets of information, now stones scrubbed smooth by flowing streams of erosion. I kneel on the bank, plunge cupped hands into laughing water, retrieving that which I once knew, rejoicing in the tiny tadpoles of thoughts that on occasion, the wrong occasions, wriggle within my risen palms, only to escape between fingers. Meanwhile, I plant rushes and wildflowers, adornments to exhibit a superior view, hoping that the pleasant colours will attract damselflies that hover and may stay a while.
So Anson, you're going to read. When you arrange something like this, there's always last-minute happenings. So Janice, whose poem is going to be read, is suddenly in hospital. So we hope she'll be better soon. And her friend Anson is very kindly reading Janice's poem for her.
Right, yeah. Hello, everyone. I thank you, Jillian, for the explanation. Okay. I'm Anson. I'm going to read this poem, Sassy of Hennessy, for my friend Janice, as Jillian has just mentioned, who had an injury and unfortunately could not be here today with us. So, Sassy of Hennessy. Sassy means the moon, and Espera of or celestial goddess. Hennessy refers to the Hennessy Road, a two-way road with tram services. It is featured in the 2010 Hong Kong movie Crossing Hennessy, which depicts a story of a man and woman living on two sides of the Hennessy Road, eventually fall in love with each other despite their individual past romantic entanglements. Sassy of Hennessy. On the road of Hennessy, trams pass by a girl with the beautiful name of Sassy, left alone by the remoteness of human density. The full moon rises with a positive prophecy, incubating joyful encounters alongside its natural latency, with a heart to resist doomed transparency. Slowly, out of the towering building of a romance embassy, comes moonlight's secretly sent agency. So the girl blushes with irresistible ecstasy, stepping forward to her heart's desire with unregulated velocity. In this city, brimming with romantic legacy, emotional sync brings definitely irresistible joy. Hence, love at first sight is never just a fantasy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anson and Janice. So Vinni Relwani from Singapore. Rena and Vinni are very careful. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Vinni Relwani and I live in Singapore. With thanks to Dr. Gillian Bickley and Proverse Publishing, my poem, Together in Bloom, appears in Proverse Publishing anthology, Mingled Voices 9. At a time when the world was finding its color again, this poem was inspired by a watercolor painting by Brazilian artist Helio Frois. The painting and its beauty becoming a symbol of strength, of hope, of rejuvenation. Gazing upon it, indeed falling into it, like two sides of a mirror, the lost self and its reflection, and a canvas with a painting under creation. As one blooms, so too the other. Together in bloom. She lives in her mind, curled tight against the starkness of what lies beyond, where the grey scratches at the window, fingers of despair, like wisps of air seeping in. She is safe behind her eyelids, her blackout curtains to the world outside, this moment of forever. an escaped tear forging its way out, her forever spun on its axis to a time before the grey. A memory knocks gently at the door of her inner being, a bridge to the now, a mirror, its reflection a canvas, hand of a creator. Brush tip dipped in colour, life's essence clinging to its bristles, a swirl through time and matter. And so, lush-hued petals unfurl, atop stems swaying strong. Life-infused canvas reflected in the mirror, her greys now verdant, canvas and self, together in bloom.
Well done. Thank you. Louisa.
Hello, good evening. My name is Luisa Ternau, and I'm going to read my poem. This year, my poem is inspired by this. It's a portrait that you can admire at in the Uffizi, portrait of Bia de Medici. So I fell in love with this portrait when I was a kid, and well, I'm not a kid in the poem, but I just continue to like this poem, this portrait very much. So yeah. So the title is Parallel Togetherness to Little Bia, a gem in the Uffizi. At 10, my hero was Bia. I like to think that her place was the suburban condominium where I lived, and each flat in it a room of her dwelling, where she loved to run, giggling away, and I chased her everywhere, hoping to borrow her smile. We were together like promising buds, separated by centuries and by inscrutable spaces, nascent corollas in need of rain, and yet always longing for the sun.
Thank you. Thank you, Louisa. Denise.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Denise, and I'm from Hong Kong. I would like to thank Dr. Jillian, the late Dr. Vernon, for seeing the value in my piece and giving me this opportunity to be published alongside everyone, and of course to speak to you all tonight. So my poem called Our Star of the Pantomime was written when I was in high school, where I was reconciling with my own struggles growing up as a competitive dancer and trying to find a cohesive voice for myself to speak. I apologize for its roughness and its length. I will begin. Our star of the pantomime. Entertainer, beat berater, masquerader, sole believer of the patriarchal turn of gears. Multifaceted identity, but they say one face can't be clearer. All those labels fastened with staples, and when I pull, they will not give. Accolades of my crusades aboard the ship of puppeteers. Empty orchestra, silent hall, watchful eyes behind the walls. Let your guard down, they said. Have a laugh, break bread. Big brother in the sky, smiling seconds before we die. Be confident, but can't glow. All the while just trying to stay afloat, head above water, can't feel my toes. Bars closing in, cars leading where you've been. Perfect princess, palace of peace, can do with wear and tear. Peers peering, prayers they pry. Thoughts through your chest, pressure, age-old crest. Excuses, your past becomes our muses, twisting the sinews of your heart. Out on the page, words come spilling, spiraling, spinning stories the bard finds chilling. Ribbons, throw on the shoes, The scale on your tail tells a tale of a doppelganger, of one in control, unlike you, who can't even face the numbers. Fever dreams of undertakers, underperforming understudies, must smile. She laughs. Like a crackle, you flinch. Invisible scars flare and pinch. Hyperventilating dizziness and self-induced fizziness comfort in the spiral of the voices all in an echo of a solitary nation. Decorum, sir. Wrap your head around your own grit. The flowers are just flowers, and the seas don't gift you waves. Bind the past together. Keep it down. The waves didn't mark your place. You see, we are not just second nature. You're cognitive first-rate players. Thank you.
Well done, everybody. Congratulations. So congratulations to all those who've read. Well done. And now we're going to hear people who are overseas and couldn't come. So
I'm honored to have received first place in the 2024 Proverse International Poetry Prize for my poem, The Poet's Lover. Here is a poem. The Poet's Lover by Zuo Fei, translated by Simon Shear. The one who most disdains you will be your lover. In a corner of the banquet hall, we saw her cold stare. She knew how to remove the wisdom teeth from sick creatures. That is why she became your lover. The one who's most ashamed of you will be your lover. Like in a small village, there is only a modest church. A storm erupted Sunday morning. The priest rose from behind stained glass to find only one worshipper in the deserted hall. The one who pities you most will be your lover. One night in early July, traveling on Saturn, you returned to your cliffside hotel and looked in the mirror to find a tear-stained face, like pear blossoms after the rain. This is your lover. She has a clairvoyance about her. When you were escorted from the Acropolis on a winter night, under the street lights of the empty square, she walked up behind you and whispered in your ear, leading you to believe that she is your lover. She is the one handing out tarot cards at the golden column. We cannot know how she feels about metaphysics. The thermometer measuring her desire reads 0, but her parrot only cares about beauty. In the corner of a large painting, a crowd of desperate people lower his body from the cross. The leper uses a silk handkerchief to cover her decaying nose. She kneels, crying tears of joy, her small body trembling in her cloak. She is your lover. As your coffin rattles along the gravel path, she waves a small black flag, her hair unkept, her firm breasts exposed in the shouts. Aquinas, Aquinas, she is your lover.
Good morning. My name's Vanessa Page and I'm a poet from Brisbane, Australia. I'm delighted to read for you today my poem, The Take, which will appear in the Proverse Poetry Prize anthology. The Take is a poem that I wrote when visiting Istanbul a few years ago, and it's a poem about the famous fishermen that line the Galata Bridge. The Take. Along the Galata Bridge, a thick weave of fishermen ply the water for juveniles that don't stand a chance. Shoulder to shoulder, jigs loaded and reset, each making their way, making a living, passing the time. The pails fill. Conversation over samovars and simits, cigarettes burning on in an endlessly smouldering city of smokers. Nothing serious exits the water here. Horse mackerel is still plentiful. The prized bluefish and palamute exhausted. The weight of the old and new colliding is obvious here, meeting suddenly, then parting ways, or just pulling apart. The fishermen start before dawn as the choke of fish kills and diesel fumes build. I'm curious enough to stop to ask. Emin tells me we all have a knack for squeezing the good out of a good thing, plucks a string of istravit free from his rod. He tells me about the 5 million cubic meters of mud they took from the Golden Horn, about the fresh seawater that was pumped in. He shrugs, says no good still, it's just like this, the same. His bucket is already busy. Tourists stroll over the span back and forth from Beyoğlu to Sultanahmet, pose against stunning Ottoman wallpaper. The minarets of the Yeni and Suleymaniye Chemi holding up the sky, tiny boats plying the seam of the Bosphorus. This ancient city braces under the teeming weight of it as we all continue to take the photographs, and we all continue to take the fish.
Hello everyone, this is Vinita Agrawal and I'm an Indian by birth. I live in Indore, India. It gives me great pleasure to read my poem Wounded Gravel for all of you. The austere banyan hides its leaves in a tired, dark cloak. Beneath the leaves, my aches unfold. How can I protect myself from goodbyes? Amidst this silence, don't mind my mangled presence. I am less sensitive to people now, just as cities are less sensitive to smoke. There must be a wind that will hear my call. My heart's stillness tells me there is none. The horizon fades into oblivion if I stare too long. The turmeric sun, the healing meadows act like balm. After sunset, the night grows white with pain. The breeze scrapes my neck like rough cotton. Is that the darkness settling in? When a dream holds one as an accomplice before light thaws it. Why do you suppose I live in this empty place, where the blood of the unjustly killed doesn't cry out, flows noiselessly on earth? Does death like being looked at? I wonder about that in the darkness. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Gary Beaumier. I'll be reading the poem Once the Moon is Full. This is a poem about getting old and losing your faculties. Once the moon in full. I don't think I quite realized how lost you become as you look for a car in the parking lot, wipers struggling through a thickening of sleet, and an impatient flow of Christmas shoppers parting around you like a sapling in a swollen river. Time's subtle erosion of your faculties had tricked my notice until this moment. I'm making soup for us this night while you sit before the television without turning it on. I am reciting grace with a quiet request for you to a God I don't believe in, just in case, just on the outside chance, he might quiet the havoc in your mind. Once you were the evening star, once the moon in full. Once you were the risen sun upon my face. But now as the snow deepens, as the darkness lengthens, I hum, I'll be home for Christmas. And you sing the words. And for that moment, you are with me again. Thank you.
It's terribly sad. His wife had passed away a few days before he made the recording. So the poem was written about her illness. And then by the time he came to make the recording, she'd been dead for only a few days. So I think it's incredibly brave of him to have done the recording. And incredible sadness comes through it, doesn't it? Yeah.
Greetings to you all. My name is Daniel Thomas Moran, born in New York City. I presently live in New Hampshire in the United States, and my poem is in the Air France Lounge at Logan Airport, and it appears in the Proverse Poetry Prize Anthology 2024, Mingled Voices 9. I wrote this poem while watching a lady who was working in the first class lounge at Logan Airport in Boston, a lady like many immigrants who come to America and do what work they can to start a life for themselves. I am descended from those same kinds of people. In the Air France Lounge at Logan Airport, the silent lady with the stainless steel cart is pushing it forward with slow dignity. Gently she gathers what has been left behind into her square gray bins. Her travels never end. No one in this first-class lounge seems to notice her as she circles them. They take no time to wonder where she is from or where she hopes to go. They don't ask her how it is she got here, how she came to be in this upholstered place. They only know how to relax, how to consume everything that has been afforded them by privilege, until it's time to fly away. The lady has never seen the inside of a plane. She dreams that one day she might also fly away. All the empty plates and glasses are there until they are not. The people are there until they are not. The lady is there.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Joanna Radwańska-Williams. I'm speaking from Scottsdale, Arizona, and I was born in Warsaw, Poland. The title of my poem is Total Solar Eclipse, and it is featured in Mingled Voices Anthology number 9. I wrote it on the occasion, as the title indicates, of a spectacular total solar eclipse that happened in the United States and Canada in April 2024. Total solar eclipse. The air is chill. The wind dies down. Dogs bark inexplicably. The orb of the moon, moving bit by bit, makes a crescent of the sun. Then, for 4 minutes, it is night. Solar prominences flare. As air reawakens, heats up, the sky is dusty blue like pigeons' wings.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kewayne Wadley from Memphis, Tennessee, USA. The poem I will be reading is titled Wanderlust, and it appears in the Proverse Poetry Prize anthology, Mingled Voices 9, 2024. In this poem, I wanted to emphasize the comfort of driving with someone you care about with no particular destination in mind. I now present to you Wanderlust. The tires hum over the street, echoing between the other cars, finding their way into the trees. Just you and me. The wind blowing in through the window, anything to get out of the house. Every mile we travel, I am more at peace, knowing that I am not alone. I am glad you called me before I got in the car. The neck strap holding my work badge dangles back and forth from the rearview mirror. Nowhere in particular to be, no particular place comes to mind. It feels good to have you beside me. The radio down low, lost in conversation. Old memories becoming new. Your arm slightly bent, resting on the car door. Every bump we hit, the loose change in the cup holder rattles. Just you and me, no particular place to be, no particular place in mind. We can stop anywhere that catches your eye. I made sure to fill the tank before I stopped to get you. Anything just to get out of the house. I am glad you were able to take this ride with me.
So thank everybody very much. That concludes the poetry readings. So thank you very much, Peter, poets here, poets overseas. Thank you very much for your writing. Thank you very much for your presence. Well done. But now, any questions? Do you want to ask Peter any questions? Any questions? Questions for any of the poets? No. This is Hong Kong. Yes, the question? No? No. This is Hong Kong. There are never any questions. But if you don't give people the opportunity, they'll say, why didn't you let us speak? So I'd like to thank everybody. I'd also like to thank the people who have helped, the student helpers, the volunteers, many volunteers, Daniel, his student, the Helena May staff, the printer, the publisher, the video maker, who has to do a great deal of work after we finish tonight. So thank you very much. Now we can eat and drink again. Thank you very much for coming. Didn't read out all the names. That's okay. It's okay.